Inside our bodies, there's a system working quietly in the background that most of us never really think about. And the surprising part is, it may be influencing our mood more than our thoughts do. We think about stress, negative thoughts, and anxiety, or even clarity as starting in our brain. But what if it doesn't just begin in our brain? What if some of what we feel is actually starting somewhere else in our gut? And before we go further, if you're new here, welcome to The Promised Life. My name is Jamark Pierre. My background is in public health and the healing work of Jesus Christ. What we focus on is helping us as humanity understand how everyday habits, especially things like diet, exercise, and sleep, are connected to how we think, feel, and function. We even look at natural remedies and also interview experts to teach whole person health. Now let's get back to food and the mind. A lot of what we experience mentally isn't just psychological, it's biological. Food touches both the biological and the psychological domains. Once you start seeing this connection, digestion and your thoughts begin to make a lot more sense. So here's what's happening. Inside our digestive system live trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, microbes, all kinds of microscopic life. Together, they make up what's called the gut microbiome. And they're not just sitting there passively, they're active. They respond to what we eat, they produce chemicals, and they communicate directly with our brain. This connection is what scientists call the gut-brain axis. It's essentially a two-way communication system between our gut and our brain. Our brain is constantly sending signals to the gut, and our gut is constantly sending signals back to our brain. And sometimes those signals influence how we feel before we're even aware of it. For example, a large portion of serotonin, a key chemical linked to mood, is actually produced in the gut. Not just the brain, the gut. And this is where things start to connect. Because once we understand that, we start to realize something important. What we eat isn't just fueling our body, it's shaping the system that influences how we feel. So here's the key idea for this episode. What we eat helps shape how we feel. Now, to really understand that, it helps to break it into three simple parts. First, communication. Our gut and our brain are constantly talking to each other. Second, fuel. What we eat determines how that system functions. And third is outcome. The communication shows up in how we feel day to day, our energy, our focus, our mood. And this isn't just theory. This is where the research becomes really important. Studies in nutritional psychiatry consistently show that the quality of our diet is directly connected to our mental well-being. When we eat more whole plant-based foods, things like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, we tend to experience more stable moods, better focus, lower levels of depression. But when our diet is mostly processed, low in nutrients, and high in refined ingredients, we are more likely to experience fatigue, brain fog, and emotional instability. And if we pause for a second, we've probably experienced this ourselves. Think about the last time you felt mentally drained. What did you eat the day before? What did you eat the hour before? That connection is easy to miss, but once you notice it, it becomes hard to ignore. And there's a reason for that. Because plant-based foods provide essential nutrients like B vitamins, magnesium, antioxidants that our brain needs to produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. They also help reduce inflammation in the body, which is now strongly linked to mental health challenges. And then there's the microbiome itself. When we eat fiber-rich plant-based foods, we are feeding beneficial gut bacteria, and those bacteria produce compounds that support brain function, reduce anxiety, and help stabilize mood. So here's the takeaway. What we eat either supports our mental health or is slowly working against it. And most of the time, we're not even aware of it. But here's the encouraging part. This system, the gut-brain axis, it responds to change, which means even small shifts in how we eat can start to make a difference. Not instantly, but gradually, and in a way that actually lasts. And here's something simple we can try. Over the next few days, I urge you, pay attention to your diet and your thoughts. Notice what you eat and notice how you feel. Journal if your thoughts are negative or positive. Do your meals make you feel sleepy? Are you sluggish? What's your mood like? Once we start seeing the connection, we can't unsee it. And that awareness is where change begins. And if this is starting to click, if you're beginning to see how connected all this really is, then this channel and series are going to be worth following. Because we're not just talking about food, we're unpacking how our biology, our behavior, and our daily choices all work together. And each episode builds on the last. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Because by the end of this, we won't just understand what to eat, we understand why we feel the way we do. And that changes everything. In the next episode, we go even deeper. Because not all eating is physical, a lot is emotional. And many of us are eating not because we are hungry, but because we're overwhelmed. So the question becomes, are you eating to nourish your body or to cope with what you're feeling? It's time to know yourself. Please comment below if you have begun to explore diet and your mental health based on the first episode and in this episode. I'm Jumark Peer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.